Excellent. Excellent. You know why? This is probably the loudest audience we've had all week. Oh. Feeling the love. Isn't it great being in New York City, huh? Come join us. Emeril Lagasse here. Welcome to Emeril Live. Boy, we got an unbelievable show for you tonight because, you know, everybody has a favorite food that they love to eat and certainly that makes them feel better, right? Everybody? What's yours?
Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese is yours? How about yours?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Yours too, Moms? Spaghetti? Lasagna. See, everybody's got one of those comfort foods. I actually have several. Depending on what kind of comforting I need at the time, you know? Like, you know, when I'm feeling achy or it's cold outside, I love making kicked up hot chocolate. So I'm going to make a kicked up hot chocolate for you tonight. No, when you're missing Mom, kind of need like a soup. So I figured, hey, why not? I'm going to make a cream of wild mushroom soup for you tonight, show you that. Or like when you feel like you need a hug, you know? Well, at least for me. For me, it's like a kicked up green bean casserole, which I'm going to make one of those tonight, too. Or when you get the winter blues, we all get them, you know? You got to catch up every now and then with a little summertime reminder, and that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to show you my really kicked up blue cheese stuffed hamburgers that are unbelievable. Or sometimes when you just like need a little tune. That's why we got Doc Gibbs in the Emeril Live Band. Doc Gibbs in the Emeril Live Band. Oh, see, I'm already happy. Just that, 3 beats. Happy, happy. Hey, folks, tonight it's all about comfort food right here on Emeril Live. I get so happy when I say, Doc Gibbs and the Emeril Live Band. Oh, I love that. How you doing, Jack? Good to see you. All right. Oh, I'm just coming right out the gate. Usually I go over here and, well, I'll go over here to say, hey, hi, how you doing? See, you guys thought these were the cheap seats, huh? How you doing? Hey, guys. All right, I'm just going right at it. Hot chocolate. I got a little milk here in this saucepan. I've had the heat really, really low. And I'm going to add actually a little cream to this as well. Milk and cream. A little bit. But I like to take the chill out of it. Now, just be careful when you're doing this at home. Because that milk and cream stuff, you know, kind of gets hot, boils over. Big troubles. So be careful when you got milk or butter on the stove. Unless, of course, you want to redecorate your house. Then, you know, whatever. Now, in this pot here, once we get that good and hot, what we're going to do is we're going to whisk in some cocoa powder. Yeah, we're going to whisk in some cocoa powder. And then, once we get that dissolved, a little tiny bit of vanilla. Pure vanilla. And then ask yourself, how sweet do you want this? Fairly, I mean, it's got to be a little sweet, right? Not too sweet. So add half the sugar in, dissolve it, then taste it. See if you want it sweeter. Yeah. See how easy it is? So now, you get that all nice and dissolved. This is a perfect way right here for the kids. Excellent. If you're having a rough day and you need to kick it up a little, what I recommend would be to add. Gonna add a little bit of that Kahlua. And just in case you want it one more notch, we take a little rum from Jamaica, man. Oh, perfect. Now that's the kicked up version right here. And then what basically you do at that point, Jack, this is for you, buddy. You pour it right inside of the old mug. Smells pretty good.
Excellent.
Then I'm going to show you how I like to finish it up here. Some for you, a little for me, a little more for Jack. Now, take a little bit of whipping cream, whisk it up. You can do it by hand if it's cold enough. Then, get a little whipped cream like that. A little more whipped cream like that. Little chocolate, just to kind of kick it up, you know? Little chocolate like that. That'll get you in the mood right there. You know, there you have it. Emerald's kicked up. Hot chocolate, all right? I got an unbelievable wild mushroom soup. When we come back, stick around. Back in. Gibbs and the Emerald Live Band. Welcome back, everybody. Emerald Lagasse here, and if for some reason maybe you fell off another planet, this is Emerald Live, and we're live in New York City. This is a great, easy soup. It's amazing these days now. You know, years ago, not that far along either, you couldn't find mushrooms other than those beautiful Pennsylvania mushrooms. You know, what I call the American mushrooms. You couldn't find mushrooms. Dry maybe, which is okay. Nowadays, look at all the beautiful mushrooms that are out there. Cremini, shiitake. Now, these are cultivated mushrooms that you can grow. They're not wild mushrooms. This time of the year, not a lot of wild mushrooms available. These are some oyster mushrooms. Again, another cultivated mushroom. But they're still very tasty. And I like to, every now and then, my buddy Frank and I were just talking about this mushroom soup, you know, this time of the year. I love doing that. Especially if... you know, one night you can serve it, the next day it's better. You can drizzle a little white truffle oil in there, you know? Oh, yeah. Here's how you do it. This one's for you, Mom. Now, gonna start with a little bit of butter. Hey, somebody's got to help the dairy farmers out here in America, you know? Start with a little butter. Come on, it's gonna feed 42 people. And then what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to start with some onion and a little celery. And then we're going to season that with some salt. Because I don't know where you get your onion and celery. Where I get mine, it don't come seasoned. Some salt and some pepper. Now, if you want to make this a little bit spicier, is he bothering you, ma'am? Well, you won't be the only one in the studio, I can tell you that. If you want to kick it up a little notch, right, Jay? Another notch. Whoa! Hey, that's a good thing. No. If that ever happens to you, what just happened to me, let me show you how you save this here. Because people now go, oh my God, I got to throw it out. My mom would be, oh, I wasted a stick of butter. Jeez. Look, just go in there and fish it is what I say. See? Oh yeah, gone. That's it. Now, we're going to saute this. What's going on here? Did we pay the bills or what? A match is hotter than this stove right now. What happened? All right, we'll just pretend cook right now. Maybe I can just draw it for you on... Maybe we should just bring out some of them big flip cards with a couple of magic markers, you know? And I could draw you a... Just kidding. All right. I'm feeling a little sabotaged right now.
Something's going on.
Something's going on with the pepper. Camera guys around here, I don't know. All right, now we're going to add a little garlic. Well, thank you. What goes great with wild mushrooms, a little thyme, a little fresh thyme. We'll take the stems off of this. See, they're pretty hard there, so we just... You didn't have your chocolate? All right, well. Okay. Jack will drink it. We're going to add the mushrooms in here now, folks. Then we're going to season these as well. A little salt and pepper. Now, in this pan right here, I'm going to take good olive oil, and I'm going to add a few cloves of crushed garlic right in here. Oh, yeah, I'll show you why. Once these mushrooms cook for about 6 minutes, this is optional. We'll add a little bit of brandy to this. We'll add a little brandy and let it evaporate out. 2 minutes it evaporates out, and then you want to take chicken stock or chicken broth, cover it up like that. We'll bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer. Okay? We're going to let it simmer. Meanwhile, while I'm getting this garlic flavor in the olive oil right now, that's because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some French bread, slightly on the bias like this. See that? And what I'm going to do is take this delicious garlic oil like this and just get it really nice and happy. Get the little more garlic flavor out. And then I'm going to take some grated Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to do like a whole sheet pan of these. And when we come back, I promise you, another notch. Stick around. Gibbs and the Emerald Live Band. Buenas noches. Good evening. Welcome back. Cooking up a little comfort food tonight. Had a little hot chocolate kicked up a few notches. Started our wild and exotic mushroom soup. Now, 45 minutes after it comes to a boil, it's going to simmer. Almost about halfway. And now comes the question time. You can leave it as it is and serve it. Maybe garnish it with a little parsley or some green onions. You could add cream to it and cream it. So now I've got this cream of mushroom soup. That's what we'll do. We'll add a little bit of cream in there. Then, you can ask yourself, do you want that consistency or do you want to add a little body to it? And that's when you bring the boat motor out. We'll go in there with the boat motor. We're not going to totally puree it. We want some of the texture, but we're just going to puree some of it because we're adding a little body right into that soup. Plus, I haven't used the boat motor in a while. And to keep it flowing, you know? Now, folks, you can garnish this all kinds of ways, but those croutons that I made earlier work just perfectly fine. Or you can use croutons, just regular croutons. Well, I'll show you what I like to do. Nice golden brown. What I like to do is float one or two of these in the bottom. Then before I serve the soup to family or friends, you want to taste it, see if there's any adjustments you need to make. More salt, pepper, fire extinguisher. Oh yeah, babe. So what I like to do is put one of these on the bottom and then serve the soup. And then float another one on top. Like I said, either some green onions or some chives. There you have it, wild mushroom soup, folks. Comfort food. Casseroles come to mind. I have lots of them. You know, as I was studying and learning in the early days about being a chef, I kind of forgot about those things, you know? I don't know why. Not cool enough, not the gastronomic experience, not enough pavés or coulis in them or whatever. But as I'm getting older, I'm finding myself doing a lot more casseroles. And it's certainly a comfort thing. I mean, I did one just the other night, a spaghetti pie, and I did it in a casserole. It's fantastic. Green bean casserole. Potatoes au gratin. Well, that's a casserole. Spinach au gratin. So I'm going to show you this one right here. Very simple. I'm going to take some green beans. I'm going to salt my water first. And what I did, just to be a little different, is that I actually took a paring knife and just kind of split the opposite way of the seam of these green beans to make sort of like this French bean thing or whatever. I don't know why. I just felt like it. Standing around playing with my green beans, you know? So honestly, I'll tell you why. A, they're not going to take a long time or as long to cook. More importantly for me, they're going to absorb the flavor being split of what I'm going to do in this particular casserole. So the salt in the water is really used to bring out the color, add a little flavor. You see how nice and green they are? But I'm not going to cook these things to smithereens here now. So we're going to shock them immediately. And you could also do that in a colander. We're going to shock them immediately to bring down the temperature of our beans. Now, I saved a couple of 3 cups of our wild mushroom soup. I should say cream of wild mushroom soup, because I'm going to add that to the casserole. You can kick it up right now in another pan if you wanted to. You could have some bacon being sauteed in it. And then when it's crispy, you add the onion and a little bit of garlic. Then you take that. I got some cheddar cheese that I'm going to add to this mushroom soup right here. You with me so far? Yeah. All right. Here's what we're going to do now. These are cool. Perfect. Got my casserole. Going to add the green beans in here. Going to season them up. Little salt, little pepper. Gonna take that cheesy mushroom soup now. Mix in that cheese. I'm gonna pour it right over the green beans. When I'm ready, I can just, it's done. The only thing you can do is maybe top it with a little bit of cheese, some more, okay? Basically, it's done. When I'm ready, I pop it in the oven. Sometimes to kick it up a notch, as a garnish, I put fried onions. After I spoon the casserole out, I put fried crispy onions on it. How do you do it? Really simple. You take some onions, take some out here. Take some onions like this. Take some hot sauce. And you just add a little hot sauce on these onions like this. Then you take them. Then you take them and put them in some flour. A little bit of seasoning. Shake them around. Take them out of the old basket like this. You see that? Shake off all the excess flour. 350 degrees. We'll fry them up. When we come back, another notch. Stick around. Lock in. Music of Doc Gibbs and the Emerald Eye Band. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, folks, we're cooking up a bunch of comfort food tonight. And before I go to my next dish, I want to finish where I left off with this green bean casserole, which is right here. And like I said, this is yummy, yummy, right like this. Wild mushroom soup, green beans. You want to put some onions in there, garlic. goes in the oven. If you want to kick it up another notch, when we fried the onions, we got the little hot sauce thing going on. We season them with a little bit of salt. See, and then what you do, folks, is you can just put these crispy onions right on top. You see? And then when you're ready, $350, $375, we'll put it in the oven. Fantastic. Speaking about fantastic, I said earlier, sometimes you get the blues in the winter and you just got to do something to kind of remind you about summer. For me, it's good burgers. So, I've been waiting to reveal this secret burger. But for you guys, hey, you know, I love you, you know, so it's like, you got to do it. Check it out. Ground sirloin, ground chuck. Make sure it's pretty lean, though. Chopped garlic cloves, right? Some salt for the old meat. Fresh ground pepper. You can get away with that. For me to, you know, got to add a little essence in there, you know what I mean? That's it. No breadcrumbs, no. Sometimes I'll put a little chopped onion in here. You know, small, chopped, or grated onion, a little bit. But I'm going to show you why I'm not doing it today. What you do is you make yourself a small patty. Well, like such. Then, I take blue cheese, and I make a blue cheese patty. So I take the crumbled blue cheese and just make a patty with the blue cheese. You with me? It's called hide the blue cheese. So we do that. Another patty. You do this ahead of time. Keep them in the ice box. Keep them good and cold. See? Then you put them together like this. You with me so far? That's a burger. Go in those joints, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking? You got to order like 8 or 10 just so you can take all the burgers out and put them together, you know? That's a burger. You take them out of the ice box, and then what you do is you take a little bit of oil, like vegetable oil, you rub the bottom. See, they're so happy right now. Oh, these things are purring in my hand here. See? Nice. It's a food of love thing. Put them on the bottom, a little oil like that. Oh. It's the simple things that make people happy, you know? Like me. Oh. What do you do, sir? I be a burger massager. Down there on 9th Avenue. When we come back, another notch. Stick around. Doc Gibbs and the Emerald Eye Band. Welcome back, folks. Happy. This is about rare to medium rare right now. Is that all right with you guys? If you want them, cooked more, that's fine. We're going to let them rest a couple minutes. I'll tell you why. So they get happier that way. And you see how they kind of have a tendency of splitting? Don't panic. You don't have to call like the hamburger or police or whatever, It'll be all right. Matter of fact, it's going to be more than all right when I show you what we're going to do. Because we're going to make this sauce for these burgers right now. Oh. Green peppercorns. Love them. Like that steak au poivre thing? Are you getting the feel of the love where I'm going right now? Meat, blue cheese, green peppercorn, it's. Little bit of Dijon mustard. White vinegar. The acidity, instead of lemon juice, I'm going to use white vinegar. Little bit. And an egg. He is building rockets right now. Rockets. Little salt. Then, take a little bit of vegetable oil and you slowly drizzle so you don't break it. Any kind of emulsion, mayonnaise, tartar sauce, you want to add slow like this so it doesn't break. Trust me. It's a mess when it breaks. Some little pouring music by Doc Gibbs. Or you have some drizzle music too?
Oh, yeah.
They have the drizzle and the pouring music by Doc Gibbs. Welcome back to Emerald Island. Don't worry, folks. We won't be eating no bugs here. Okay. Takes time. I'm sorry. It's a food of love thing. If you add it too fast, it breaks. You got a mess on your hands. Now we're ready to go. All right. First things first. Green bean casserole. Check that out. See, it's all bubbly and gooey and stuff. Oh, yeah, babe. Check this out. We're going to take one of these buns, and we're going to take the green peppercorn mayonnaise, and we're just going to, because it's kind of spicy, you see? We're just going to smear that. Whoop. Yeah, both sides. Hate one-sided tasting stuff, Then, lettuce. Works for me. Little salt. You want tomato, pickle, onions, whatever you want. See now how the burger's set and you see how the cheese is starting to ooze out? You put that right on there. Put that right on there. See that? So to give you the full effect, here it is. Full effect time. Got the kicked up blue cheeseburger. Serrated knife. That's what that is, with the teeth on it. In case you just landed. You're wondering why your burger's like a mess before you even get it. Now look at this. See that? Oh yeah. Okay? Now look at this. You serve that with a little bit of green bean casserole and some of that fried onions, just like this. And that's comfort food for me. That's what I say right there, okay? Jack, I don't know if you'll find him in L.A. Now, enjoy. Let me tell you, this is another comfort food thing that's gone. Whatever happened to tapioca? You know, I don't understand. Tapioca is the starch from cassava or yucca. Nothing to be afraid of. Here's how we're going to start. We're going to use a quick tapioca. You know, there's the old-fashioned, you take your, a while to cook. Now they make a quick one. So in this pot right here, I'm going to add, watch this, milk, orange juice, going to whisk in a couple of eggs, some orange peel, sugar, a little vanilla. Everything's cold, okay? And then the tapioca granules. Now we turn the heat on, and now we're going to let it cook. When we come back, I'll show you what we're going to do with this incredible tapioca kicked up. Stick around. Back in. And the Emerald Live Band. We were talking on the break. See? You just got to keep stirring it. Whatever happened to all the tapioca? It's like gone. You get tapioca, a little orange. I'm going to show you a great tapioca pudding parfait. I got a little bit of lady fingers. And they're crunchy. Purposely, they're stale. But not for long. So I take them and then I hit them with a little Grand Marnier. Then a little bit of orange. A little bit of orange. Lady fingers. We'll just put one. Just put one up like that. Then you can take some of the tapioca and set it like right in there. See that? And then what you should do is build these up like this and then let them sit up in the ice box. Let them sit in the ice box for a little bit. And then when you're ready, you pull them out. Okay? And then how I like to finish them, again, you can then put in the lady finger and then a little bam! Just a little bam. Then I like to just hit it with another bit of whipped cream. Okay? And there you have it. Little tapioca parfait. Comfort food. What a beautiful thing. Hey, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm Emeril Lagasse. See you tomorrow. Whoa.
The American housewife. Who has a more important, a more responsible occupation? Wife, mother, laundress, counselor, maid, chef, purchasing agent. All of these are her duties at one time or another. If her income is limited, and most incomes are, it is her duty to be sure that what she has to spend buys the most in healthful, nutritious food for her family. Yes, she feels that she must buy wisely if she can. But just what does this mean? What can she do to be sure her money goes as far as possible? One of the first things she can do is just what this young lady is doing. Shopping from a grocery list. Using the list tends to eliminate so-called impulse buying, which is a great waster of housewives' funds. What is impulse buying? Let's take a look at Henry Slinkman. He's frequently guilty of it. Henry's going to pick up something for dinner. His wife didn't tell him what to get. Anything that looks good, she said. Henry's been working hard all day and he's hungry. What's more, he's hungry for something different, getting tired of the same old things all the time. That's it. That's what he's hungry for, oysters. So Henry takes not one, not two, but 3 pints of oysters. The way he feels right now, he could eat all of them by himself. Henry and his wife don't often eat cake. Neither of them care much for it. But tonight, Henry's really hungry, and this cake certainly looks wonderful. Henry knows he ought to have some vegetables, good diet, and all that, you know. What's this? Henry's never seen anything like this before. Looks good, so he'll take 2. Yes, Henry is guilty of impulse buying. But how is impulse buying wasteful? When Henry finished dinner that evening, he was sure he wouldn't be able to eat another oyster for a long, long time. And almost 2 of the 3 pints that Henry bought will have to be thrown away. Neither Henry nor his wife cared for the new vegetable. Most of what he bought will go to waste. Henry and his wife tired of the cake long before it was eaten. Henry found out about impulse buying the hard way. The housewife may buy quantities which are not economical for her family. Here are 2 different size cans of the same product. The small can contains 16 ounces and costs 12 cents, or 75/100ths of a cent per ounce. The large can contains 31 ounces and costs only 22 cents, which is 71/100ths of a cent per ounce. Which shall she buy? The answer depends entirely upon the situation. If the food requirements of the family are great enough, the large can is the better buy, because all of it will be used. None will be left over. But if the family is small, the small can may be the better buy, since part of the large can would probably have been wasted. The right answer depends upon the requirements of the purchaser. Sometimes substantial savings can be effected by buying in case lots. But this presents a storage problem that some people may not be able to solve. It's wise to be sure the food is well liked by everyone before you buy too much of it. Obviously, highly perishable foods are not suitable for quantity buying because they spoil too quickly. When buying canned goods, be sure to read the label. The information on the label is much more reliable than the flowery language of advertisements. Some labels are of the descriptive type that you see here, giving the buyer some description of what is to be found in the can. Other labels carry a letter grade, which indicates the characteristics of the contents. The meanings of the letters vary with the type of food. Usually, the grade A indicates a fancier product. For example, these grade A tomatoes are larger, more colorful, and less broken than the grade C, although both grades are probably equally nutritious and healthful. These are canned string beans. Which is grade A and which is grade C? Here, the smaller beans are grade A because they are more tender and taste better. Here are grade A and grade C peaches. Can you tell the difference? Of course you can't. Not only appearance, but taste and degree of ripeness determine the grades of these peaches. The size is of small importance. The thing to remember is to read the label. Know what you are buying before you buy. Did you ever stop to think how many ways you could buy one kind of food? Dried, canned, frozen, or fresh? It will pay you to analyze the situation and decide which is most economical for you. Usually, if it's the season when the fruit or vegetable is ripe, it will be most economical to buy it fresh. This box of strawberries will cost about half as much in summer when berries are plentiful, as it will in winter. The season of the year has a tremendous influence on the price of most fruits and vegetables. The reason for this great difference in price is the cost of transporting the food from a warm climate where it can be grown in winter to the market, which may be several hundred miles distant. Different kinds of fruits and vegetables are in season at different times throughout the year. It will be more economical for you to serve the ones that happen to be in season at any particular time. You may find that you can save money by doing your own preservation of foods. Home canned food will usually cost less than commercially canned, and if the housewife's time is not too highly valued, this can be a saving. Frozen foods are the nearest thing to fresh foods available. They are convenient, easily prepared, and palatable, but they are usually priced higher than other types. This price is partially offset by the fact that there is no waste. There are various meats available to the housewife, ranging from the most tender, most expensive cuts to the equally nutritious but less tender portions of the animal, which are sometimes ground or chopped. At this point, the cooking ability of the housewife becomes highly important. It doesn't take much skill to make an excellent meal from an expensive T-bone steak. But the sign of an accomplished cook is an attractive and tasty dish made from less expensive meat: hamburger, frankfurters. Even a well-prepared, well-seasoned stew is a dish a housewife can be proud to set before her family. The nutritive value of meats varies little with price. The desirability and small proportion of the tender cuts causes them to be priced higher. Milk is an important part of every good diet, but your attempts to economize on it may have disastrous results. Use the best grade of milk available to you. Disease may be contracted through drinking unsanitary raw milk. Now let's review the important rules for buying wisely. Shop from a grocery list to avoid impulse buying. Decide upon the most economical quantity for your family. Check in your local market as to which form of food is the most economical for you. Purchase fruits and vegetables in season whenever possible. Do your own food preservation when feasible. Exercise your skill and ingenuity in preparing tasty and healthful dishes from less expensive meats. You'll find that keeping these things in mind will help you to buy wisely and stay within your food budget.
I'm Nona and you're watching Quick Bites, the show that explores San Francisco's love affair with food. And today, you're in for a real treat. Grape leaves, baklava, and kebabs, oh my! Food inspired by the Mediterranean and Middle East with a twist so unique you can only find it in one place in San Francisco. We're at the 55th Annual Armenian Food Festival and Bazaar, and this is extra special for me, not only because I happen to be Armenian, but because there's so much deliciousness here, and I just can't wait to share it with all of you. Let's go! Armenia, its culture and cuisine, has had many cultural exchanges with its neighbors. Today, Armenian food is fused with flavors from the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe.
This is our 55th year, and in San Francisco we're the largest Armenian food festival and widely recognized as one of the best food festivals in the area. We have vendors that come up from Fresno, from Los Angeles, showing off their crafts. We really feel like we have something for everyone in the neighborhood, and that's really what it is drawing people to see a little bit of our culture and experience what we experience weekend in and weekend out.
We are behind the scenes now, watching the chef at work preparing some delicious Armenian kebab. Now, this is a staple in Armenian cooking, is that right?
Absolutely. Since the beginning of time, our soldiers used to skewer on their swords, and it's gone down through the years where we've developed into these kinds of kebabs out here now. We have filet meat, we have chicken kebabs, and we also have lule kebabs, which is a ground combination of beef and lamb with onions and parsley. Every September, over 2,000 pounds of meat being cooked in 3 days.
After all that savory protein, I was ready to check out the fresh veggie options.
Okay, this is Armenian string cheese. You know, it's all string, tomatoes and mint and olive oil. That makes it summer food. And what I'm doing is I'm putting some lebne. Lebne, it's yogurt, but it's drained, so it's kind of like cream cheese. So that's the vegetarian. When Armenian, they offer you food, you have to eat it. They will welcome you, and food is very important for them.
In every Armenian community, we feel like we're a small village, and it's that village that comes together to put on something like this. What I find really interesting about San Francisco is that there's many blends of Armenians that have come from different areas, but once they are here, the way people work together at any age, including our grandmothers, our grandfathers that are skewering the meat and making the food, it's really fun to see. It's fun to see everyone get together and, you know, do it their way.
This is, we call it su börek. It's a cheese turnover if you want. We make it, the dough from scratch. We boil it like you do for the lasagna.
The amount of love and care infused in these foods is tremendous. Most of these ladies come in every day to prepare, cook, and break bread, all in preparation for the big festival.
Nobody says no. When you call them, you have to come tomorrow, we're doing the grape leaves, they all come.
What a treat it is to taste their delicious recipes, all made from scratch, and passed down through generations. It really makes you appreciate the little things.
This is one of the best festivals. The food is to die for.
Yeah.
It's outstanding, and it's all just a marvelous occasion.
We're outside checking out some of the food to go options. I just grabbed myself a lula kebab sandwich. It's got all kinds of herbs and spices, so I'm going to taste this. It's looking fantastic. One of the best I've had in a long time. Dinner was delicious, but I've got just enough room for dessert, my favorite part. Let's go. We're behind the scenes right now watching how all the pastries get made, and we've got a whole array of pastries here just for us. The honey and nuts and cinnamon and all kinds of great ingredients. This looks amazing. Here's another yummy pastry made with phyllo dough. Oh my God. This is really sweet and similar to the baklava, but it's so much lighter. So there's almost no guilt to it, which is what I'd like to believe. We've got a lovely little roll here. It looks like a very delicious and exciting surprise. So I'm gonna bite into it. Here we go. Buttery goodness is what that was. This would go great with Armenian coffee. Now we're making some incredible Armenian coffee.
We buy our coffee from Alvin Coffee. They have the best coffee and it's cheap. These two came from Armenia, specially made, and we enjoy it. Would you like to try it?
I would love to try.
Would you like sugar or no sugar?
No sugar today.
Sugar. Pick your cup.
I'm so excited. It's really earthy. You can really taste the grains, and I think that's what makes it so special. It's really good stuff. I hope you try it. Cheers. We've been having such a great time at the Armenian Festival. We ate, we saw, and we definitely conquered. I don't know about you, but I gotta go dance this food off. In the meantime, check out our blog for recipes, outtakes, and so much more at smquickbites.tumblr.com. And until next time, may the fork be with you.
First of all, everybody is welcome. And we ask two things when they get here. One, that they try something they've never tried before, be it food or be it dancing or doing something. And if they feel like it was worth their while, to tell one person that's here and bring that person, that family member or that friend down the street to come with them.
Hopefully.
We're gonna have to do a lot of eating, so get ready.
Get ready, and you diet tomorrow.
Why do people have different reactions to the same food? One person might love chocolate, while another person may find it too sweet. Some people love cheese, but others just think it's nasty. The reason for these differences is due in large part to the taste of food, but there are other factors too. The smell of food, its texture, its color, and its temperature also contribute to what's generally known as the flavor of food. The combination of all these factors tells us whether food is delicious, good, unpleasant, or downright disgusting. The flavor of food is due mostly to how it tastes and smells. When you eat, the most immediate sensation is taste, but you actually smell food as well. If you hold your nose while you eat, you'll notice that some foods will taste different. There are 5 taste sensations: sweet, bitter, sour, salty, and umami. Only recognized as a taste in 1985, umami is associated with savory foods, which includes meat and tomatoes. Smell is as important, if not more important, than taste. For instance, when people who have a head cold try to taste salsa and chips, they feel the textural crunch of the chips and the tingle of the hot peppers on their tongue, but they cannot taste the flavor-rich salsa with its onions, tomatoes, and peppers because they can't smell it. When we chew, aromas are released that activate our sense of smell by way of a special channel that connects the roof of the throat to the nose. If this channel is blocked, such as when our noses are stuffed up by a cold or flu, odors cannot reach sensory cells in the nose that are stimulated by smell, so we don't enjoy foods the same way. Without smell, foods tend to taste bland and have no flavor. A huge amount of chemical compounds contribute to the flavor of food. Chocolate, for instance, is a mixture of some 300 flavor compounds, and coffee beans contain more than 800 chemicals. Identifying these chemicals can help create a variety of artificial flavors that are used in nearly every food product out there, including potato chips, ice cream, chewing gum, and soft drinks. Chemists create artificial flavors from chemical compounds present in plants and animals. They use them in their natural state, or they process them to make new flavors. What's interesting is that we don't need all the flavor compounds in a given food to recreate its flavor. For instance, an orange contains 250 flavor chemicals, which all combine to create an orange flavor. But artificially flavored Tang, a powdered drink mix, has only 6 aromatic chemicals in its makeup, but it has a familiar orange-like taste. So we can get pretty close to proper orange flavors from just a few of its flavor chemicals. Artificial flavors get their characteristic odor from various compounds, especially esters, which are chemical compounds formed by the chemical reaction of an alcohol with a carboxylic acid. An alcohol is an organic compound with the general formula ROH, in which the R is a hydrocarbon group and the OH is a hydroxyl group. A carboxylic acid is a compound with the general formula RCOOH. For example, the formation of ethyl butanoate, one of the compounds that gives pineapple its flavor, is produced through the reaction of butanoic acid with ethanol. But wait a second, isn't ethanol the type of alcohol found in alcoholic beverages? That's true, but when it combines with the acid, it loses the characteristics of drinking alcohol. Likewise, acetic acid is the main component in vinegar, yet when it reacts with an alcohol, the flavor changes dramatically. When two compounds react to form a new compound, the properties of the new compound are not a simple combination of those original ones. They are completely different. If you use different alcohols and different acids, you obtain different flavors. You can compare that to combining two colors of paint. When you combine red and yellow, you get orange. Similarly, when you combine pentanol with acetic acid, you get pentyl acetate, an ester that smells a lot like a banana. Flavor chemists combine many chemicals to achieve a desired scent. Day after day, they test different combinations before settling on the one that will achieve the desired result. But don't expect to get a tour of a flavor and fragrance factory anytime soon. Those flavor formulas are carefully guarded industry secrets. At major food companies, you have to work as an apprentice chemist for 7 years before even getting a peek at the flavor formulas behind the world's most popular foods.
The fastest way to the heart of a country is through its food, and street food is the bullet train to the most authentic and delicious discovery. International street foods run the gamut from gourmet.
It's got a super splendid ocean flavor to it.
To adventurous.
I love worms. It's a bamboo worm.
Indulging in street foods is like learning a new language.
After a good night drinking with your friends, you gotta eat a broodjes uitvlees.
And once you try it, there's no going back.
It gives you a bit of a kick, and it's quite addictive.
So forget the restaurant menus and lace up those walking shoes for the best, cheapest, and most fascinating eats on the streets around the world.
Hi.
Food. It's the #1 reason people like to travel, and the best place to find it is on the street. There's no better place to rub elbows with the locals and grab a bite that's fast, inexpensive, and speaks volumes about the culture. From Mopani worms in Namibia to hot dogs and pretzels in New York. Street foods reflect the essence of a place. Scoop up a camel spleen sandwich in Morocco, and you're digging into a piece of Berber history. Bite into spicy rabbit heads in China, and you're overwhelmed by the Sichuan tradition of spicy and bold flavors. They're mouth-watering, portable, and cheap. Like the best jerk chicken you'll ever eat, from a stand in Kingston, Jamaica for a couple of bucks. Vendors are magicians with just a cart, a grill, and a few fresh cuts of meat and spices. While food trucks are revving up in the United States, street foods have been around for centuries throughout the rest of the world. So we travel across the globe to Jerusalem for snacks as old as the Bible, to Berlin and Amsterdam for sweet and savory flavors from Europe, and to Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Mumbai, dishing up everything from eel kebabs to stinky tofu. And we start in Mumbai, India. It's the largest open-air kitchen in the world. Sizzling hot, crazy loud, fast, and always cheap. Capable of serving, get this, more than 20 million people a day. Mumbai is India's most populous city, a magnet for people and foods from all over the country.
You'll get a taste of every part of India on the streets of Mumbai. You won't get that anywhere else.
Kalyan Karmakar is a market researcher, but his passion is blogging about street food of his native India. Warm temperatures and dirt-cheap food carts bring practically everyone outdoors to socialize and eat at the numerous cow gullies, which means eat streets. And like this cow gully in the Fort Commercial District, there are always stands noisily cooking up pav bhaji. Pav bhaji is a cross between vegetable stew and gravy served with hot buttered rolls. The base starts with potatoes hand-mashed in butter, along with diced tomatoes, onions, peas, and peppers.
And then he's going to add his red masala and then spices and then a touch of lime.
It originated to feed textile mill workers in the 1890s.
So in India, we don't use spoons all the time. We use like our breads, our hands. It's really delicious. For me, it's really all about the butter.
The price is easy to swallow too, just $1 for a plateful. A lot of the food in Mumbai is vegetarian because 80% of the population is Hindu. They consider cows to be sacred, but they do have their burgers, Bombay burgers that is, otherwise known as vada pav.
We call it vada pav, for you it's Bombay burger. Mumbai's favorite food.
It has no meat. It's just a carb fest of potatoes and spices mashed in a ball, coated with chickpea flour and deep fried. The vada pav sells for about 10 cents. Locals eat it for every meal.
If you want to taste real Mumbai food, it's on the streets, available on the streets. No need to go to a 5-star or any posh restaurant.
Well, maybe, but it's better if you're weaned on a very spicy diet. The Bombay burgers come with complimentary chili peppers, which would destroy adventurous eaters in most parts of the world. But not here.
No, because we've grown up on this. So, after this, like habanero peppers of Mexico, those are like kid stuff. Like, we can have that in our sleeve.
No doubt about it, the street food scene in Mumbai is gritty. Takeout is wrapped in newspaper. Everyone cooks, serves, and eats with their right hand. And sanitation issues make the tap water unsafe to drink, especially for Westerners. It's why most visitors pass up raw fruits, vegetables, and drinks. While there are eat streets all over Mumbai, you'll only find meat dishes in a handful of Muslim areas, like Bendi Bazaar in the oldest part of South Mumbai. It's home to the Borhi Mahalla neighborhood, with dozens of stands and holes in the wall where rich and poor rub elbows and break bread. Starting with the famous Indian flatbread called roti. Here at the Mohammed Khan Bakery, the process hasn't changed in hundreds of years. Whole wheat flour, water, and a pinch of salt. Hand-kneaded, flattened on a cloth-covered bowl, and then slapped inside a clay tandoor oven.
Like even the aroma, it just makes you smile. I mean, this is like what bread was meant to be.
They ship rotis all over India. And just down the block to this shop, cooking barahandi, or 12 vessels. Naheem Hyatt's family has owned this place for 3 generations, where they've got cow, goat, and lamb feet, rumps, brains, and bone marrow, simmering in curries and sauces all day.
It takes 12 hours to get cooked. We put up the recipe in the morning, then we arrange it in the evening.
Kalyan is joined by Mr. Mosin. He's, one of the regulars here.
And now we are going to start and we'll let you know how.
So it's chota ka paya, and paya means trotters.
Trotters. Paya means trotters.
That's goat feet to you and me.
This is just the marrow.
We suck out the marrow out of bones, but they've done it for us. So you've just got this like marrow over here, and you dip your roti into it, take it out.
This is to be eaten with our hands, not with a knife or a fork.
Yeah. And you sort of dunk it in.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Fond of such food.
I love it. You've got a meaty flavor, so it's very, very decadent and sinful.
And the slow cooking makes the meat literally melt off the bone, even a tailbone.
Look at this. I mean, it's like one of Mr. Mohsin's mattresses. I mean, like it's like softer than a feather mattress. Fantastic.
Good.
There aren't many places like this left as younger consumers want faster foods. But for lots of Mumbaikers, the most popular spots for street foods and socializing are Mumbai's beaches.
It's what life was before malls were developed. So it's really the malls for most of Mumbai.
And here at Juhu Beach, people come for the cool breezes and the chops, or snacks. These are made of puri, fried flour dough, some flat, some formed into hollow balls, all topped with variations of potatoes, chutney relishes, and spices.
It's a little bit spicy, but it's a tasty food. It's a mix-up of all the vegetables, tomato, onion, and all, so it's very yummy.
The variations are as endless as the streams of locals and tourists walking along the sand.
Yeah, I'm not too good with spice, so I have to try and find things that aren't too hot. This isn't too hot, so it's good.
Got like skewers and stuff off the stick, they're beautiful. But yeah, a lot of veggies as well, it's good.
And desserts as well, there's a lot of excellent desserts.
Desserts, like the gola, crushed ice, doused with several different flavors of tart and sticky syrup. There's just no neat way to eat these things. Or a faluta. You can get them in different sweet flavors. This one is rose, mixed with noodles, seeds, milk, and ice cream. Hard to tell whether to use a straw or a fork. And to top off a night at Juhu Beach, there are prawns, a beetle leaf stuffed with dried fruits and spices.
And it's a digestive and a slight, it gives you a bit of a kick.
And if the mildly addicting stimulant in the beetle leaves isn't enough of a kick for you, get this. They dress them with a thin layer of real silver, just for show. But you don't need silver to eat like a king in Mumbai. Because the street food is so incredibly cheap and delicious.
I love Mumbai. I'm addicted to Mumbai. It's a bit like Hotel California. Once you check in, you just can't check out.
And while it is tempting to linger in India, why miss out on one of the most delectable combinations of sugar and butter you'll ever find?
They're very good.
This diet buster is coming up later in Amsterdam. But first, it's time to pack on the protein. And in Bangkok, it either slithers, scurries, or squirms.
I love worm. It's a bamboo worm. Oh my God, I want to taste it.
Bangkok, Thailand is one of the fastest growing, most modern cities in Southeast Asia. With a population topping 9 million and counting. It's a city that never sleeps while it pulsates with culture, fashion, and cuisine, peddled by immigrants from around the region. So it's a constant outdoor smorgasbord along the canals and streets, with vendors hawking everything from crispy grasshoppers and locusts to fermented rice and spicy snakehead fish.
Not only like fast, it have to be good. So all the street food squeeze itself into people's daily life. It's not only street food, it's a part of life.
Nim Korokot is a travel and food writer who can't wait to get home to Bangkok after business trips.
And I'm just fall in love with food because what Thai people love so much, I'm just ordinary Thai, we love food.
They love food so much, locals eat multiple small meals all day and all night. It's always a party on the streets. Starting with seafood sold from boats along the canals that crisscross Bangkok. Here at the Tailing Chan Floating Market, sellers paddle up with fresh fish, portable grills, and spicy fixings, all on their boats.
This is absolutely the best place to find the food in a very unusual atmosphere.
Today's catch? Prawns, mussels, and snakehead fish. With traditional Thai sauce that combines sour, sweet, salty, and spicy tastes. And for a finishing touch, homegrown basil leaves. And the Thai know how to cook with heat.
Spicy.
But if you're from, say, Italy, it may be more excitement than your mouth can handle.
Yeah, it's very spicy. Everything is very spicy. We are not used to spicy food.
But this British couple says they'd rather eat papaya salad and pork satay here than at any restaurant. And why not, when this meal costs less than $3?
Oh, you can't beat the street food. It's cheap, it's authentic, it's tasty. I mean, the seafood just comes from the waterways. It's just amazing. You live like a king here for no money at all.
Delicious.
Vendors near the Royal Palace sell fermented rice and lotus leaves, coconut ice cream, and coconut milk, served in the sauce.
Very fresh, very good. Yes, yes.
Coconut, coconut!
Thailand is one of the world's top coconut growers, and they use it in a lot of native dishes, including their favorite curry dishes. Meat and veggie curries are street stand staples all around Bangkok. You can see 20 different varieties at the Nong Leong Market, where downtown workers come for a fast, hot lunch. And what's cooking for dessert here? Steamed rice crepes, stuffed with pork minced with peanuts and shallots. Or saku saimu, same filling with a sweet tapioca coating.
When we talk about people, Thai people, Bangkok people, they all make a joke about us that we eat like 5 meals a day, which is not true because we eat 7 meals a day.
At night, Bangkok's eat streets are hopping. This is Silom Road.
It's like a melting pot where people come from anywhere in the world and then they live in Bangkok. What they bring with them is not the suitcase, they bring the food.
So there's shawarma from the Middle East and noodles with barbecue pork and crab from China. The late night and backpacker crowds also flock to this street food haven along Khao San Road, where immigrant cuisine is hot stuff, like Indian rotis cooked with banana, condensed milk, and chocolate for dessert.
Let's get sugar high.
And mangoes are served with sticky rice, sweetened with coconut. And it wouldn't be Thailand without pad thai. But this iconic dish is cooked in several different ways, down to the choice of 4 kinds of noodles. This close to the sea, shrimp is a popular version.
It's cheap and it's safe and it's really nice.
But here's where it gets interesting. Yes, we've saved the best for last. Crunchy, spicy, crispy bugs.
I love worm. It's a bamboo worm.
Frying bugs and selling them has been a calling for Mano Parnatharn for 20 years, bringing a taste of home from northeastern Thailand to the big city. Locusts, grasshoppers, bamboo worms, scorpions. For Thais, they are a major source of protein. But for tourists, the grasshoppers and other creepy crawlies are a test of bravery.
It's like chicken.
Especially this giant water beetle.
I'm scared.
Oh, it makes me proud. Yeah, it's kind of like a nice snack, I think. It's ridiculous. How is it?
And how about a baby frog chaser with a spritz of soy sauce?
You see, good, good.
Like a chicken, yeah.
Yeah, like thin chicken.
This tough guy orders 1 locust, but gets more than he bargained for.
Yeah, for 20 baht you get a whole bag of locusts.
That's about 65 cents for the family pack.
Very salty and crunchy, which I thought they'd be sweet locusts, to be honest with me. And I'm a little disappointed, but it's not actually terrible if you don't think about it too much.
But it's impossible not to think about what you're biting into in Hong Kong, where your nose keeps reminding you.
I smell dead people. That's what's coming out of this bag.
That's coming up later. But first, it's Back to the Future in Germany, where you find an ingenious cross between the Jetsons and age-old tradition.
It's the best I've ever eaten.
Visitors to Germany come to savor the old world charm or stop at milestones of history, like the site of the shattered Berlin Wall. Restaurants are usually expensive, and you don't hear much about the street food. But you can find cheap eats at a nearby Imbiss, which means food stand in German. You'll find them all over the outdoor weekend markets in Berlin, like the Winterplatz. Vendors dish up plenty of German favorites, like soups, strudels, and pickled fish. But ask any Berliner, and they'll tell you the best is worst. Bratwurst. Commuters get them hot and on the go at metro stations from the sellers who look like something out of Star Wars.
Very good, right? Wurst here is the best that you gibt in Berlin.
They're called grill walkers, one-man sausage band, strapped into a combo propane tank and grill contraption. Now this is mobile food. But the most beloved brat in Berlin is the currywurst. Pork sausages grilled and doused in curry and tomato sauce. And one of the most famous currywurst joints is Curry 36, where you can eat inside or out. But most currywurst is grab and go.
I asked them where you can get the best currywurst in Berlin, and they told me Curry 36. So I'm here now to taste, and it's great.
Urban legend has it that in 1949, a German housewife traded liquor to British soldiers for the hard-to-find curry spices. She cooked up the cheap but filling dish. This meal deal is less than $4.
Oh yeah, really good.
Over the years, Germans have acquired a taste for Mediterranean fare brought by Turkish immigrants like this modest guy.
Come to Mustafa's Kreuzberg, Berlin City, richtig. Best kebab in town.
Doner kebabs are like heroes, an oversized sandwich made of pressed spiced chicken, veal, or lamb, sliced paper thin and piled high with veggies in a pita, all for about $4.
I love kebab, yeah? Before, I don't found a good kebab, and I think I must make the best.
Food writer Steen Hansen agrees.
Got lovely meat here. We've got some feta cheese, onions, salad, some pieces of potato. Just delicious.
And if you're on the hunt for another European street food adventure, head west to the Netherlands. Amsterdam is known as the Venice of the North because of its canals and seafood.
We eat the shrimps, we eat the eel, we eat herring.
Boy, do they eat their herring.
Vandaag voor u wel.
Dutch foodie Francis Broekhuysen gets his fix at Doppermarkt Street Market. Raw herring is salted for several days and sliced into bite-sized pieces with raw onion and pickled gherkins thrown in.
They leave the pancreas inside, so the enzymes, they make the flesh really soft. Oh.
It's good. Delicious.
Cod is another favorite Dutch street food.
In a batter with a lot of spices and herbs.
And just like in Germany, Amsterdam's large immigrant population is mixing it up.
It's a lot of influence of different cultures. So we have Suriname people, Moroccan, Turkish.
Immigrants who cook up dishes like baga, which are donuts made of chickpea flour. Or these sandwiches. They're called
broodje zoutvlees. This is fiery stuff. Sticky, gooey, hot.
They are stuffed with spicy, fatty, cured beef, brought by immigrants from Suriname.
Look at this. Animal fat.
And all over Amsterdam, you'll find snack kiosks popular with tourists and the drinking crowd. Like the carb-loaded street foods across the canals in the Albert Cupmarkt. Bet these fries smothered in mayo can cure a hangover.
Yeah, mayonnaise, baby. Oh my goodness.
Folks also flock to outdoor markets to avoid the pricey restaurants, even if some of the street eats are a mystery.
Still not quite sure what kind of meat this is, but it's delicious.
Less adventurous tourists head straight for the famous Dutch sweet stands.
This you can find all over Holland. The stroopwafel.
Stroopwafels are a Netherlands creation dating back to the 1700s. 2 paper-thin cookies with sweet caramel honey slathered in the middle. This one is a secret family recipe.
My father he was busy getting the perfect recipe for many years. And finally he got it.
Very good. It's awesome.
Very sweet, warm, tasty, rich.
And the other uniquely Dutch street food dessert starts with a similar sweet batter, but with different results. These are called proffertjes, which means to puff up.
Miniature puff pancakes.
His grandfather used to hawk the mini pancakes at traveling carnivals.
Flour, milk, eggs, and some secret ingredients where I can talk about.
Okay, I can understand.
Yet another Dutch health food, served hot and topped with powdered sugar and butter. Lots of butter.
They're very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
From artery-clogging goodness in Amsterdam to a bitter dessert in Hong Kong. Coming up next, turtle jelly. It's just what the doctor ordered.
It's usually sexual potency for guys or beauty for women.
And then, practicing proper etiquette in Japan can be very hard to swallow.
This is definitely a big oyster.
Hong Kong is home to cuisines from all over the world. Street foods are no exception. And here in this hip and fashionable city, they are served with a heaping helping of tradition. So you'll find skewers of pig intestines, turtle jelly, and the most misunderstood, most reviled street food ever.
This might be the worst thing I've ever taken a bite of.
It's all good for Amy Ma, food writer for the Wall Street Journal and other publications.
Whenever you're hungry, you always find a cart. And the best thing about it is that you can walk down a street and treat that street like you would a 5-course a la carte menu, only you're going from place to place and not sitting down at one restaurant.
And it starts with breakfast in Jardines Bazaar, with the Chinese version of a donut. But inside the fried dough is shredded fried pork, pickled vegetables, and rice. The rice ball donuts are served with warm soy milk mixed with more fried dough.
It's like a bread pudding soup that's less sweet and better for you. This would be like your ham and eggs and hash brown combination equivalent here in Hong Kong.
The combo costs about $1.50, and it has the typical blend of savory and sweet, yin and yang.
Very good.
Of course, tea is very big in Hong Kong culture, both cold and hot. Especially the very strong, very old silk stocking tea, which gets its name from the stocking used to strain the tea over and over again. Not to worry, the stockings haven't been worn, but the tea packs a punch, which is why it comes with lots of condensed milk and sugar. Wow! One of the most beloved street snacks in Hong Kong is the egg or custard tart. With just a hint of sweetness, they're habit forming.
It's kind of like a flan, creme brulee, and the best pie crust you can think of, all rolled into one.
People argue about whether the British or Portuguese introduced egg tarts to Hong Kong. But this treat is pure Chinese. They call it a 1,000-year pastry because inside the flaky crust is a gooey black egg preserved for months in a mixture of clay, ash, and lime. Then it's coated with sweet bean paste and ginger.
So preserved eggs and ginger are a classic combination. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It has a gelatin-like texture to it, so it's almost like a gummy bear inside.
The Chinese make up 90% of Hong Kong's population. In the Mong Kok district of Kowloon, there are lots of sidewalk cafes serving noodles and dumplings with plenty of internal organs.
You get a lot of great street food stalls that will be a little more authentic. You'll start to see pig intestines or things that, you know, might make the typical tourists a little squeamish. You'll see that all the time in Mong Kok.
Things like squid tentacles, spicy beef stomach, and yes, pig intestines on a skewer. They may be local favorites, but tourists find them tough to chew and even harder to swallow.
Right?
It smells like sulfur, yes, it does.
Which kind of smells like poop, which is exactly what it is.
Fantastic. I'm not making out with anyone tonight.
You can cleanse your palate and more with traditional medicines. They play a big role in what the Chinese eat, which explains why this very bitter turtle jelly is so popular here.
It's like a funky coffee jello. With medicinal foods in Asia, it's usually sexual potency for guys or beauty for women. So it's this very primitive idea of what good health is.
Turtle shells are broken into little bits and stewed for about 9 hours. When it cools, the thick collagen in the shell turns to jelly. It takes a liberal dose of sugar syrup to make this medicine go down. But the real test of just how far you're willing to go for authentic Hong Kong street food begins long before you lay your eyes on it. It's called stinky tofu.
The smell is horrible.
And just one whiff is enough to send tourists running the other way.
Try a little bit. No. It's actually really rare to find these on the streets these days. A lot of the stands have been outlawed because it just smells so bad.
This tofu soaks in rotting vegetable matter for several months. And then it's fried and served with a dribble of hoisin sauce.
Dead people in my mouth right now.
And seriously, most tourists won't go near it.
It's really not that bad.
But a couple of our crew members were willing to taste one for the team.
That's horrible. You just can't breathe while you're doing it. Yeah.
And that's the adventure of eating street food in Hong Kong. Some foods just can't cross the cultural divide, but that's all part of the fun. Coming up next in Tokyo, it's all about freshness and technique, where minding your manners can be one hot proposition. Then, an age-old ingredient in Jerusalem cures everything from aches and pains to wrinkles.
You'll become more beautiful boy.
Eating in Japan is all about art and etiquette, down to the smallest of street food stands and the grittiest of neighborhoods. Like the stalls around the Tsukiji Fish Market in Tokyo, where everything is immaculate and fresh.
Yes, Tsukiji Fish Market is the most famous and biggest fish market in the world.
Here you'll find every kind of fish and seafood imaginable. Much of it served raw.
The sushi is definitely the freshest in the world.
Yasuhisa Chiba, a culinary student whose family is in the seafood business, says it's that obsession with freshness that sets Japanese street food apart. Like this rice bowl, loaded with raw fish for about $15, about a third of a restaurant price.
This is a donburi, or a sashimi over rice. Very popular around here because everything is in one place. Very rustic, easy to eat, and inexpensive, but super good. This squid is looking absolutely delicious.
So is the raw tuna and whole shrimp. The uninitiated only eat the tail. Those in the know also go for the head.
Brains, it's what's for lunch. It's got a really hearty umami flavor, nice and rich, not too salty, not fishy at all.
You hear the word umami a lot in Tokyo. It's used to describe a savory, earthy taste. Here at the Tsukiji Fish Market in Tokyo, it's a point of pride to handle raw fish as little as possible, because heat from a person's hand can spoil it.
Yes, Japanese people love healthy food. They like simple preparations that don't mess with the product at all.
This is about as basic as it comes. Unagi, or freshwater eel, grilled to perfection.
In the summer, it's very popular to eat because it gives you strength and stamina. Unagi has great fat content to it. It's real moist, real rich.
It's basted in a subtle mixture of soy sauce, sugar, and mirin, which is a sweet sake. There's nothing subtle about the stand next door, selling giant raw oysters.
Look how huge that is.
Protocol dictates you've got to swallow it whole, no matter how big it is.
This is definitely a big oyster. Quite literally, a mouthful of ocean flavor. Bursting with salt. And the really meaty, super good.
Another popular street food is much easier to swallow. It's ramen soup with lots of noodles and broth.
You have to slurp. I know it's very rude in America to slurp your noodles or pasta, but in Japan you have to do it for it to be delicious.
There are a lot of rules you need to know when eating in Japan, like how to bow to your server, how to add wasabi, when to pick up food with your fingers, and yes, the right way to slurp soup. Slurping helps you breathe in the aroma. The Japanese experience food with all of their senses, like the way they eat takoyaki or octopus balls. At this stand in the Amiyoko district, a no-frills outdoor market full of food stalls. To be clear, these are not octopus testicles, they are octopus tentacles, chunked into a pancake-type batter. They're topped with dried fish flakes, seaweed, and smothered in mayonnaise. The rule is to devour them straight from the fire. It's like eating hot lava.
Not an overwhelming octopusy taste. It's a lot of hot batter and the nice sauce that's on there.
Tokyo is not like Mumbai or Bangkok, which have food stands all over. Here, you have to know where to look, like the Asakusa district. The street leading up to the oldest Buddhist temple in the city is lined with old-time vendors, serving up traditional treats, like marinated seaweed.
It's not overly salty, it's not overly powerful, just got that nice umami flavor, and it's very healthy, you can tell, but it's delicious.
Now, this guy spends hours scraping the kelp and soaking it in vinegar. This just might be an acquired taste, according to these Australians.
I think it'd be interesting in soup or in steaks rather than just by itself.
Though they love their seaweeds and creatures, the Japanese could not survive without rice.
We use rice for everything. It used to be used as currency, and not only do we eat it for every single meal, it's used to make sake, shochu, desserts.
Desserts like these, kibidongo. They're balls of sticky rice pounded and coated with sweet bean powder. There's senbei, a dry, crunchy rice cracker. This one is a wasabi seaweed flavor. It's cool to watch how they grill them in the back. And this woman transforms rice crackers into something you'd swear was meat, just by soaking and spicing it.
If you told me that it was a beef intestine or a tripe, I might believe it.
Nope, it's really rice crackers. And after a long day of eating, it's sake time, which, by the way, is also made of rice. After dark, the working crowd heads here, Yakitori Alley, under the downtown train tracks. Yakitori are bite-sized pieces, grilled on small skewers. 2 skewers cost less than $4.
Right now I'm going to try some livers and the rear end of the chicken.
There's been a head-to-tail trend in Japan for centuries, and they're always scrupulous about food safety and cleanliness.
Just from hearing its tail, you might think it's disgusting, but this is really good.
Or stick your skewers into these morsels: pig's head, chicken thigh, heart, or cartilage.
It's fatty, a little bit fatty taste. It's not it's not unpleasant at all, actually. It seems to be quite crunchy and crispy. It's good, actually. Never thought I'd eat it, but I'm eating it.
The heart is excellent as well. It really, really is good. Jolly nice and splendid. Minimal cooking, minimal interruption from the chef.
So whether it's cooked simply or simply not cooked, Tokyo street food is calling you like a sidewalk samurai with your chopsticks and skewers. Kampai! Coming up next, one of the oldest cities in the world dishes out street fare that just might hold the secret to world peace.
My mouth thanks you.
Thank you.
Jerusalem is one of the oldest cities in the world. It's the crossroads of religious and cultural tradition from Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Its tumultuous history can be felt in every narrow street and alley. Even its street foods take you back to another time, with origins from many other countries, especially those sold at the Mahane Yehuda market in the center of town. And in the middle of the market is Uzi Eli Hazy. He's known simply as the Juice Guy. Really, he's more like a medicine man.
This one is ginger with apple, in case if you are diseased or upset stomach.
Israel grows a lot of fruits, so juice stands are everywhere, but none quite like this. Uzi Eli brews a concoction to cure every ailment.
Dates. It makes you wake up and full of minerals and vitamins. Pomegranate, apple, and cayenne. Make the blood to run much better.
We have the bitterness and the citrus of the pomegranate, and then the spiciness of the cayenne pepper.
But his most prized potions are made from one of the world's oldest fruits. It's known as etrog in Hebrew, or citron in English.
What you see here is especially unique in the world.
8 centuries ago, a famous Jewish philosopher proclaimed the etrog to have 70 healing properties.
It's for pregnancy, for heart, for pressure, for wake up.
So Uzi Eli puts it in almost everything from juice to anti-wrinkle cream to this, his own age-reversing spray.
Close your eyes. Once a day. Wait, you'll become more beautiful, boy. Open your mouth, open.
He invents some of the elixirs himself. Others are passed down from his Yemenite grandfather.
They prepare and heal all the system in your body. Chaim.
Just like the etrog, many of the foods sold in this open-air market are as old as the Bible.
It's a large open-air market, and you have vendors with your classic spices, olives, and your fresh produce and fruits, as well as meat and fish.
Ben Brewer is an amateur chef and runs Israel food tours in Jerusalem.
Christians here and Muslims and Jews that have come from North Africa or Iraq or Eastern Europe or the United States, and they all bring their own culinary traditions. And all their traditions together have helped create the Israeli cuisine.
And that cuisine all starts with the basics: seeds, nuts, dates, and olives. Olive trees can grow even in the poor soil of the Middle East, and they figured out how to preserve the olives thousands of years ago.
We have olives that are pickled in lemon and different herbs. We have a Moroccan kind of olive, which is just cured in a lot of salt. Briny, salty. There's some garlic and lemon in there. You can tell that they marinated.
And dates, which first grew near the Nile, are some of Israel's biggest fruit exports. The king of this market is out hawking a dessert called halava.
Amazing. The best halva in Israel.
Halava is the Israeli version of a common Mideast confection. Here, it's made from a dense base of sesame paste and sugar.
And then they'll add the other element, whether it's the pistachio, the cinnamon, the chocolate, the cappuccino, to give it a slightly different flavor.
It tastes like sesame, but sweet, very sweet.
And in a back quarter of the market, they're still baking the same breads they have for millennia. Laffa and pita, sold to stands making Jerusalem's most iconic street foods: shawarma, kebabs, and falafel. Every ethnic group makes its own versions of falafel, but they're all basically ground chickpeas and spices, molded into little balls and deep fried.
It's so good, really, because also it's crispy. All of the people around the world like falafel.
Kebabs also originated in the Middle East, and although many cultures have adopted them, you can't beat the real thing just outside the ancient walled city of Old Jerusalem. And at $5, the price is right.
This is a part of their culture, and to experience some of the country, so I think it's a good idea. And it's also cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Some of it you get at restaurants is the same, I think, but just overpriced.
Jerusalem is the crossroads of many cultures and religions. The Arab Quarter is just inside the walls, through the nearly 500-year-old Damascus Gate. The Shoot, or Bazaar, is a maze of ancient alleyways, selling everything from clothing to all kinds of Middle Eastern foods, like pastries and shawarma. Shawarma is made by alternating layers of seasoned meat and fat onto a vertical skewer and slow roasting it so the fat makes it moist and tender. It's the perfect food for eating on the go, and it's habit-forming. Al-A Eilat has specialized in chicken shawarma for 72 years.
That looks really good. I'd like to order one shawarma, please.
Sure, would like to have it in pita bread or in the laffa bread, the Arabic bread.
Decisions. The choice of salad toppings is endless. And it's finished with a drizzle of tahina, a sesame sauce. Abed Hafiz has been cooking it all his life.
It's my grandfather's restaurant.
It's a burst of flavors. My mouth thanks you. This is the best fast food in the world.
I love the food very much.
And that's the delicious lesson found in the ancient traditions of street food in Jerusalem. No matter where you come from or what religion you practice, it's the one thing everyone can agree on. And all around the globe, street foods are bridging cultural divides. So Hindus and Muslims can break roti together in Mumbai. The Japanese can keep up their ancient food rituals even on the go. In Hong Kong, locals can still find old world foods and drink herbal remedies at stalls in the middle of a modern metropolis. And the Bangkok Eat Streets offer a melting pot of cuisines. While in Berlin and Amsterdam, you can find natives, immigrants, and tourists lining up to taste the best of all worlds at great prices, keeping alive the tradition of street foods around the globe.
Hey, this is Daniel Ferreira, I'm a pro.
Today we're talking about doing some very simple food photography. We're going to use some LED lights that right now we're plugged into the AC, but these can all run off batteries. So if you go into a location like a restaurant or something and you want to make a really nice shot for a food blog or that kind of thing, this is the kind of techniques you'll be able to use. So my light of choice for this project is the LightPad by Rosco. It comes in a couple of different versions, a lot of different sizes. It's very, very skinny, very cool little light. It's very soft. So these are daylight balance LEDs, and I'm working with the Sony A7S, which is a tremendous camera in low light. So I don't need a lot of light here. I actually already have an exposure, if you will, on my camera just with the light that's coming from the windows behind me. So if you imagine if you were in a restaurant or something, there'd be some light coming in, just the general environment. There's a shot there. I mean, I could make a photo. I could also take my light and I could do what a lot of people would do, which is front light. And if I front light this, let's say if you had a flash on your camera, that kind of thing, it's really, really flat and hard. This is what a lot of people will do because that's where your flash is on the camera. The very least thing you can do is get your light off the camera. Even just moving it to the side or doing anything like that is going to make for a better photo. You see I have some shadow control. It's not really appealing, but you can see I can at least be creative with this. I find that with almost all product photography, and I consider food photography product photography, you should always start with backlighting. I think the backlighting always looks good, and it's just a great place to start. Let's work on our composition first, though. So I've got my little treats here. They were delivered to me in these little pink boxes, which I decided to use. And I'm also using as a background paper, if you will, the bag that they came in. So I'm only using the things that you would have if you bought these things at a location. I chose to put the raspberry treat in the back because I think the color is a nice background contrast. Also, it's got a nice round curve to it, and I've put my boxes in kind of a curved position. So I'm creating a composition that leads your eye in. I'm not exactly following a rule of thirds thing here, but I'm pretty close with this one down here. I can move it over a little bit if I want to be really particular. Once I'm focused, I could use a remote or just a self-timer or whatever, because I'm going to walk away from my camera now. The camera is no longer that important to me. It's already set up. It's not going to do anything else. What I'm going to do is come over to my light, which is a Rosco light pad. This is the Axiom style. The Axiom style light pad has a metal frame around it, so it allows for easier mounting. I have it mounted here to a C-stand. Obviously, you could either hold it on your hand or put it on a very lightweight stand if you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I'm essentially lighting my object, and what's cool is I've set this up in such a way that the pink boxes are actually throwing a little bit of a shadow on the treat in the back, so I'm giving myself some depth with some shadow too. If I really wanted everything evenly lit, I could move my light more to the side. But then again, I feel like that becomes very flat. So by putting my light over here, I'm actually partially shadowing my rear element, which is the raspberry treat, right? So this actually looks pretty decent as is. If I wanted to get really perfect, I could take my other light pad, not plugging in or anything. This is just a white surface, and I can just use it as a reflector. So I can just bring that in. And now I've just filled in my shadows, right? Take a picture of that, I think. Good. This is a very quiet camera. And there you go. So that's pretty good. And if this was a video, what I could do is I could do like a focus shift, let's say here, and focus from the front item to the real one to make a short little clip. I could also, this bag has the logo on it. I could back up a little bit and show the logo. So there's a lot of things I can do with this very basic composition. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV, and I'll see you next time on set.
The perfect poached egg. Tender whites around a warm liquid yolk that oozes out like gold when you cut into it.
They're an essential part of Eggs Benedict. They can turn any salad into a meal or any vegetable into brunch. The problem is they're really tough to make right. So you've probably read all the tricks and know all the secrets. Add vinegar to your water. Add salt to your water. Don't add salt to your water. Stir a vortex into the water. Wrap your eggs in plastic wrap. And guess what? None of them really work. After years of testing, I've only come across one method that works every single time, and all it requires are two things. The first is a really fresh egg. Fresh eggs have tighter whites and yolks that help them retain their shape better as they cook. There are two ways to tell how fresh an egg is. The first is to check something called the Julian date. As long as it's packed in the US, every carton of eggs has a number between 000 and 365 on it, and that number corresponds to the day on which the egg was cleaned and packed. So a number of 000 would mean January 1st, 003 would mean January 4th, and so on. All you really need to know is that the higher the number, the fresher the egg. You can also tell how fresh an egg is by carefully putting it into a cup of water. As an egg ages, the air pocket in the fat end is going to get bigger and bigger, which will make the egg stand upright or sometimes even float. A really fresh egg will sink and lie flat on its back like this. Once you've got your fresh egg, the second tool you need is something that I saw first suggested by British chef Heston Blumenthal, a fine mesh strainer. You see, no matter how fresh your eggs are,
if the culture of a country can be inferred through its food, then the Indian character must seem a cacophony, a medley of spices, tastes, and aromas. Yet on first bite, the cacophony subsides, the melody begins, with each flavor complementing the other. And nowhere is India's food more delicious than on its bustling streets, where real India eats. Mumbai, home to more than 10 million dreamers who have transformed 7 swampy islands into India's film and finance capital. The youngest of the metros, Mumbai constantly reinvents itself, its people and their food.
ये कहानी सिर्फ मेरी नहीं है, लगभग मुंबई में आए हुए हर आदमी की है। मुंबई एक कमाल का शहर है और दिन रात भागता दौड़ता शहर है। यहाँ सुबह हो या शाम, रात हो या दोपहर, कुछ नहीं रुकता और इसीलिए यहाँ आपको हर वक्त खाना मिलेगा।
We are in Kalakoda. We are having sandwich on the road. It's got cheese, tomatoes, onions, some cucumber and butter.
स्प्रिंग डोसा मिलता है, मंचूरियन बिरयानी मिलती है। जिस तरह से मुंबई बदलती रही है, जिस तरह से यहाँ का वातावरण बदलता रहा है, लोग बदलते रहे हैं, लेकिन सब चीज़ों में जो एक चीज़ हमेशा लोग कहते हैं, स्पिरिट ऑफ मुंबई, वो खाने में भी दिखता है।
Mumbai's street food, like the city, is a story of happy accidents and seized opportunities. The city of dreams cuisine is ever-changing, yet constantly delicious. On the other hand, Kolkata, the city of joy, prides itself on the authenticity of its street food.
Calcutta has a 300-year-old history of being a city where all kinds of cultures survived. Calcutta being what it is because of its heart. You know, Calcutta has always been very down to earth. People have always been, not necessarily wanting to eat in posh restaurants. Any kind of socioeconomic class stands on the street and eats.
Food is lovely, right? And it's a nice place to come early in the morning when you can't go home after you've had a good night of clubbing, right? So this is the place to be.
When international actor Victor Banerjee agreed to be a part of this film with his daughter Kea, we were more than delighted.
Your wretched Pani Puris in Bombay and Golgappas in Delhi are just a cheap imitation of this.
Kolkata street food evokes a gentler culture. It allows all who come to retain their identity. Unlike Delhi, where the weight of history is felt in assimilation. Street food here benefited from the constant addition of techniques, ingredients, and spices from the east and west, situated as it is on the Grand Trunk Road. Delhi's flavors are robust and complex, fitting for a capital city that is both old and new.
Delhi, my city, is a city of many layers. People have come over centuries to build new Delhis over the ruins of the earlier cities. All of them brought their food traditions to the city. This is the morning drink. It's the gravy in which the chole have been cooked. Wow. It's so spicy it can make you sweat even in winter. So this is how you uniquely get a paratha in Parathi Wali Gali. You'll get your paratha like you get anywhere else, but you will get this kele imli ki chutney, which is a very, very tangy and very special. You'll get a mildly spicy dish of potato. You'll get this homemade mint and coriander chutney. These very crisp pickles and 2 types of vegetables, pumpkin and again another potato.
The breakfast puris and parathas have been my highlight so far. Just, you know, the soft bread dipped in the potato and sort of tomatoey gravy. It's been really nice. I've enjoyed it.
Today we search for the elusive Ram Laddus in Lajpat Nagar.
ये राम लड्डू हैं, इसे मूंग की दाल के लड्डू भी कहते हैं और ये लाजपत नगर सेंटर मार्केट में बहुत पॉपुलर है.
चटनी और मूली इसमें जो डाला होता है, इंग्रेडिएंट्स बहुत टेस्टी होते हैं. प्लीज़ आप लोग भी ट्राई कीजिए.
Delhi offers an exciting assortment of street food. Some say it's the best in the country, but that's a war that hasn't been won yet. We leave behind the irresistible charms of Delhi for the poetic city of the Nawabs of Lucknow, where royal tastes still influence street food. Lucknow, Shiraz-e-Hind, the golden city of the East, is also known as the Constantinople of India. Uniquely among Indian cities, Lucknow boasts a street food culture whose most famous dishes originated in the regal kitchens of the erstwhile Nawabs of Awadh in Uttar Pradesh.
शहर निगारां कहें जिसे, गुलदस्ते खिरा में बहारां कहें जिसे. लखनऊ अपनी खुसूसियात का एक शहर है जो कि अपनी तहज़ीब, ज़बान, मौसीक़ी और आदाब-ए-दस्तरख़्वान के लिए मशहूर है.
While street food throughout India provides cheap food and employment to millions, in Lucknow, street food is responsible for preserving a way of life for the talented chefs of the Nawabi kitchens.
इस वक्त हम लखनऊ की कदीम चावल वाली गली में हैं और ये अली हुसैन साहब की मशहूर शीरमाल की दुकान है. शीर फ़ारसी में दूध को कहते हैं. इसमें शक्कर, दूध, घी, ज़ाफ़रान का एक ऐसा मुनासिब रेशियो प्रोपोर्शन है कि जो लखनऊ के अलावा कहीं पाया नहीं जाता. ये शीरमाल, सुभान अल्लाह, क्या कहना.
A visit to the Tunde Kababi shop at the Chowk or at Aminabad is a pilgrimage that all food lovers must make.
The best part about the kebabs here is that they melt in your mouth, they're intoxicating, and nothing can beat them. You can just see from my belly that I just love these kebabs.
सदाकत खुद ब खुद करती है शोहरत हर ज़माने में. मुनाफा चाहिए इतना जितना हो नमक खाने में.
The story of Lucknow and its street food is that of survival, of regal cuisine that lives in commercial times, a tribute to the Lucknowi appreciation of the finer things of life. Street food in all the cities that we have visited, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi and Lucknow, is typical of India's vibrancy and innovation, based on local ingredients and history, married to affordability and the contemporary pace of life. Indian street food is also the story of its essential harmony and democracy.
fried chicken. This is stir-fried frog legs. One thing about a Binondo food trip, you always need to have a loose shirt. That way, there's always room for more. You're gonna need it because today I'm going to take you on an all-day taste bud adventure through some of my favorite restaurants here in Manila's Chinatown. The challenge, we're gonna do it with just 500 pesos. Binondo was established in 1594 and is actually the oldest Chinatown in the world. Of course, the Filipino-Chinese community has spread to different parts of the Philippines, but here is where things stay old school. You know, from the food to the culture to the architecture, things haven't really changed that much and Chinese tradition is still strong. That's why our first stop for today is actually the best Handfuls noodle shop here in Binondo. Are you ready? And this is actually the very first restaurant I went to the first time I went to Binondo. And until now, it's still my favorite. Why? This is why. Beef ramen, chicken ramen, dumplings. Okay, let's try it. For 120, this is kind of as big as my face already. And the noodles, they come fresh from the kitchen over there where they hand pull it. And this makes for a great chewy texture that you're not going to get in like normal store-bought noodles. You can really taste the beef. How much noodles that is. That's not normal. You're not going to find noodles like that anywhere else. Good food is everywhere in Binondo, even in the most humble Carinderia-style restaurants. If you want some vegetarian food, there's Kuan Yin Chai. If you're adventurous, there's frog legs by the Estero de Magdalena. And for lumpia, it doesn't get any better than you going. Every time we go to Binondo, we have to go to Dong Bay. Non-negotiable. In fancy restaurants in Makati City, you can get a plate of xiaolong pao for 300 pesos. But here in Dong Bay, you can get it for just 110. That means either, save half your money, or like us, you can have twice the dumplings. I can't even move. And then I bought some more. So I'm gonna be eating more when I get home. And I'm so happy about today because we had 3 big meals. We had dumplings, noodles, and we have pasalubong, all for 500 pesos. You can pretty much stuff yourself senseless on a pretty sensible budget, which is why I'll always come back to Binondo for a second serving.